Okay. For anyone who hasn't met him before, this is Dan Culver, and I was privileged to be able to hear a small segment of his presentation at a chamber function, and I had many questions and asked him how we would proceed if indeed we had additional questions and how we could open a dialogue, and he said, get me the questions. So I sent him the 20 questions that were developed by the Swatara Watershed Association, and we would ask Dan if he would kindly go through them and answer them. Do you want me to read them, or do you want to read them? How do you want to do this?
Whatever is your pleasure.
Well, and I am going to tape this because we have an open communication policy, and that way, hopefully, we can share the answers. You did say it's okay to share the answers.
Certainly. In
your communication. But so we can share the answers with the public so that they, too, can be educated on whatever the outcome is.
Okay.
Okay? So number one, of the 25 jobs created, how many people will transfer into our community from other Tenaska facilities?
And I think if we'll do it for the record, let me at least give them the answer. We can discuss. We said the plant staffing is still at minimum 3 to 4 or more years away, so no exact answer can be given to the question. Tenaska estimates the facility would employ during operation approximately 25 to 30 full-time employees. Pardon me. Some will need to have experience operating gas turbines and generators. Others will require experience in industrial maintenance. Tenaska would like to hire as many of its employees as possible from the local area. We want to be part of the community, and there's no better way than to have people with local roots join our team. Pardon me. We have already received requests from the area pertaining to employment opportunities at this new facility if it is built. On the proposed timeline, the earliest applications for permanent employment at Tenaska Lebanon facility could be accepted is in 2012 to allow time for training before projected commercial operation begins in 2013. Regarding the construction phase, when Tenaska builds a power plant, I apologize. It hires an EPC or an engineering, procurement, and construction contractor. The EPC contractor performs design, completes engineering, and manages construction of the plant. The EPC contractor also awards construction materials contracts. Tenaska has developed 12 large power plants in the United States, and its construction contractors typically have made a concerted effort to hire workers from the local area.
Okay. That's the formal answer that we did get in writing. There is a sign-in sheet. Jack, thank you for joining us. If anybody would like a copy of the written responses, put your address behind your name and we'll see that you get a copy in the mail. Okay? Number two, would the location of the Tenaska plant in Lebanon County increase the chances of a proposed electric line locating in Pennsylvania, meaning here, as well as the line crossing Lebanon County on its way from West Virginia to New York? We're told that eminent domain proceedings will take place on homes, businesses, and farms, and anything in the path of the electric line.
And since we are a generator and transmission lines are basically governed by the utilities and the federal government, we responded by saying that we couldn't speculate on what factors the state and federal government will use to determine the paths of proposed transmission corridors. Tenaska considered the transmission capacity available today when it decided to develop a natural gas fuel-generated facility here in Lebanon County.
Okay, and once I get through these 20 questions, I hope that you might consider answering some additional questions from the group. Okay, all right. Number three, if ag security areas to avoid islands of small farms, and this is referring to preserve farms, I did want to clarify that, are required to submit blocks of 500 contiguous acres for protection from complaints, why would a different standard, 350 acres, be applied to business or industry, especially when the entity is asking for a zoning change from agriculture?
Okay. And our response, recognizing the ag security areas, to the best of our knowledge, the 500 contiguous acre requirement applies to agricultural security areas. There is not an acreage requirement applied to new business or industrial uses. Current plans are to use approximately 50 acres for the plant itself, and out of the total 350 acres. Original uses will be continued on the balance of the property to the best extent possible. Lebanon County has extensive historical experience handling zoning requirements for industries that have made significant investments in the county. An energy plant of this type, and the type contemplated, with a life of 30 years or more and 25 to 30 full-time employees would be a sustaining development in the county.
Okay. Number 4, what are the soils on the farm?
Our answer to that was the soils are typically of upland farmland in the area and include tillable farmland, forest, and wetlands. Current plans are to use approximately 50 acres for the plant itself, and the original uses will be continued on the balance of the property to the best extent possible.
Number 5, we currently have a water deficit area in the Bethel Township area. Would withdrawal of the water by Tenaska increase the size of the water deficit area?
And our response was, our plan is to locate a source of water that will serve our needs for 30 to 50 years, one that does not impact the community in a way that diminishes its quality of life or its capacity to grow. Tenaska has begun a process to evaluate options for meeting the water needs of the proposed Lebanon County generating facility. If Tenaska were to submit a request for water to any water authority, it would only be after the study and assurances of the long-term sufficiency of the water source for all users. We have met with the City of Lebanon Authority to listen and share some options.
Okay, number 6, the Seacrest Dam holds around 10 million gallons of, I'll say, permitted water. Wanted to make sure that was clear. If all of the people living, working in Lebanon County utilize this facility, and Tenaska wants to use 8 million gallons of water per day, how can Lebanon County justify this request? And I did read some of the parameters for the drought that we used back in 2002 prior to your coming.
Okay. Tenaska has recently begun to evaluate the options for meeting the water needs of the proposed facility. Various sources, including surface water, groundwater, and municipal process water, are under study. A decision regarding the water source has not yet been made. Tenaska facility is estimated to use an average of 5 million gallons of water per day when in operation.
Okay, number 7. Another proposal talks of drawing some water from Seacrest Reservoir and some from wells. And more recently, I will add to that, we heard of a proposal to run a line from the Susquehanna River, it was in the paper. What radius would a cone of depression cover from a well drawing millions of gallons of water per day from the ground? And would that radius overlap with the water deficit area in Bethel Township?
I'll simply preface the answer by saying, since this is an ongoing study, the answer would become available should detailed studies of the Bethel and other areas be undertaken at some future time. Without those studies, an answer would be speculation. And to clarify that a little bit, that means we're looking at the broad scope of water supplies, and nothing has been zeroed in on as a target. And certainly when you mention the Susquehanna, an alternative source at this time appears to be a more probable solution for everybody.
Has the Susquehanna River Basin Commission approved a water withdrawal plan?
And again, due to the preliminary nature of things, our answer was options, including surface water, groundwater, and municipal process water for meeting the water needs of the proposed Lebanon County facility, are under study. A decision regarding the most appropriate water source has not been made. Tenaska has not made a request for water.
Number 9, we understand that ground and surface water are interconnected. By way of canoeing, kayaking, fishing, and swimming, the Swatara Water Trail, recognized by both the state and the nation, provides recreation for residents and visitors to our community. With Tenaska in our community, would the flow of the Swatara be negatively impacted, thus negatively impacting tourism dollars?
And our answer to that was Tenaska's focus throughout the water study period is to identify a long-term sufficient supply of water